Hello and welcome to HTM. I'm Ty, and I will be doing the demonstration of the warrior class weapons in Guild Wars 2. The warrior has quite a few weapons, so this may take some time, and I'll be starting off with the sword and shield, and I will cycle through the main hand weapons and then start showing the offhand weapons. Now, the sword start all weapons start off with this auto attack. Some of them have extra bonus effects, like the warrior's auto attack will stack a bleed. But most are just flat damage and they'll just keep firing off without you having to press the button. Now the second ability is this heroic leap. You just dash at your opponent and deal damage. It's a very good gap closer and very good at sticking to the opponent, which is rather difficult as a warrior. This game isn't very fair to melee, but it gives plenty of abilities to close distances. Like your third ability, Hamstring, which, as you can see, has crippled this poor stag. You hamstring your opponent and slow them down, and they can't get to you as easily. At first, I only thought about this for, getting away from the opponent, but then quickly realized that you can also use this to catch running away opponents. Now, your weapon dictates what your adrenaline ability is. With the sword, it was that just going crazy on this MOA with a bunch of strikes. Using abilities on opponents levels up your adrenaline bar, which you see above my other skills. And then how strong the ability actually is based off of how many bars were charged up before I use the ability. 1 bar for weakest, 3 bars for strongest. I don't have my third bar currently because of the way I'm leveled. Because of the area I'm in, I'm D-leveled and I don't have all of my stuff. Now, next I will be showing the axe in the main hand. As you can see, my 1, 2, and 3 have changed, but my 4 and 5 are the same. Now, the axe auto attack is rather entertaining because it starts with 1 chop, then 2 chops, and then 3 chops. You just chop, chop, chop away at the opponent. It's rather fun to watch. Your second ability is Cyclone Axe, which you spin around with your axe to deal damage to opponents. But it also causes vulnerability, meaning opponents take more damage from all of your other abilities. And your third ability, Throw Axe, you toss your axe to the opponent and cripple them. This makes it harder for them to get to you, but you can also throw your axe at retreating opponents to catch them and hamstring them, so you can stick to them easier, and they can't get away from you. And as another gap closing ability, your adrenaline ability is Leap Strike, where you leap a small distance at your opponent and do a ton of damage. The leap distance is rather awkward in that it doesn't actually cover that much ground, but it does cover some ground, so it's good for chasing and a good finishing ability. Next, I'm going to show you the mace. The mace is the more defensive of the weapons, and this is noticed throughout most of the classes that can wield maces, like the warrior and the guardian. Your auto attack is a bit slower than with the other abilities and does less damage, but it also, on the third strike, afflicts vulnerability, making your foe weaker, not hit as hard, and you hit them harder. Now, your second ability is a counter blow. You protect yourself, and if you're attacked, you deal damage back. But if you're not attacked, you actually build up adrenaline. You get a very large chunk of adrenaline, actually. And you don't have to be in combat to use this ability, I noticed. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but with a lot of counter abilities, you can use them outside of combat to build adrenaline. You can build adrenaline for free between battles and just keep using your finishing ability. Your third ability is Pommel Bash, where you just smack your opponent and stun them. It dazes them for 1 second. It's not the best stun, but it works, and it does its job, I suppose. Just hit the opponent, and they can't do anything for a full second. Now, your adrenaline ability with the one-handed mace is Skull Crack, where you do an even stronger stun. The damage and the stun duration is based off of how much adrenaline you have. And since you have the adrenaline increasing counter blow, you have two very strong stuns at your disposal. First you can Pommel Bash, and then you can Skull Crack, and you can keep your opponent stunned for a very large amount of time. This is also considering, if you have a mace in your offhand or the shield in your offhand, which can also stun, but we'll get into that. Now, the shield, as I said, is stun. Your 4 ability is Boom Stun. Doesn't really do much else, but of course, mixed with the other 2 stuns from the mace, you can just keep people controlled for a very long amount of time. Now, your 5th ability is a basic shield block. It will block all attacks for the duration. You'll take no damage, you block everything. This is wonderful for, say, if an enemy has a very strong attack that they can spam, or it's a very big boss ability that you need to block, because you can just block it without question and take no damage. And just an exposition of all the abilities right here. Now I need to show you the offhand of each and all the weapons. I'm going to be keeping my sword in the main hand to avoid any confusion. Your main hand ability will always stay the same no matter your offhand. So as you can see, all of my abilities with the Warhorn are the same as when I had the shield. Now, the 4 ability of the Warhorn is I remove all movement speed reductions from myself and nearby allies and give us swiftness. So let's say everyone's stuck and you need to get out and you need to move. You can blow the horn and free everyone from movement impairments to get away faster. Now, your 5th ability grants vigor to you and all nearby allies, making you stronger, but it also afflicts all nearby opponents with weakness, making them weaker. As you can see, it pisses off lizards nearby, and you can use your 4 ability to get away. Next, I am showing you the axe in the offhand, which is very entertaining. First, you start off with Dual Strike, which strikes you with both your main hand and offhand weapons. You gain Fury with each strike, giving you a bonus to your critical strike chance. But you get Fury for each time you hit them, increasing your crit. Now that was Cyclone, my favorite ability so far on the warrior. You just go insane and spin like crazy. You can move while you're using this. I don't exactly exemplify that, but it just tears apart everything that is nearby you. You couple this with Dual Strike, and each one of those attacks on Cyclone just hits everybody. Or Whirling Axe, I'm sorry. So you hit the foe, gain Fury, and you whirl and crit with every single one of the hits. Next, I will show you the sword in the offhand and the axe in the main hand to show you that my 3 axe abilities are the same, while my 4 and 5 have changed. The 4 ability on the warrior I thought was rather cool, flavor-wise and, use-wise. You use it, and you toss your sword at the opponent, and then you can activate the ability again to tear the sword out of the opponent and deal more damage. So you toss your sword, you hit them hard, and you inflict bleeding, but then you can rip your sword out to do bonus damage. And it never really loses its fun as an ability. So gathering from what I've seen, the sword is one of the better PvP abilities, because it has a lot of chasing. You have your hamstring, you have your heroic jump, and then of course now you have riposte, which is a ranged attack damage ability. So you're in somebody's face and you're tearing them a new one and they run away, you can impale them with your sword, jump to them, and pull your sword out, which would look amazing in anything that wasn't an MMO and could actually show that animation. Now your 5th ability is Riposte, which is just another block damage ability. If they hit you, you block the damage, but if they don't, you gain adrenaline. Either way, they lose. So the sword would be better for PvP because you can better stick to opponents. The axes, on the other hand, will do just way more damage, because with the Whirling Axe, you can couple that with your 2 ability, which inflicts vulnerability, and then your 4 ability to increase your crit chance. And then you can Whirling Axe while they have reduced defenses, and you have increased crit to just deal so much damage that I don't think many people would actually be able to take it. Now your 4 ability with the mace is Vulnerability. You inflict your opponent with vulnerability, making you deal more damage, which I feel the maces actually need if you're going to be dual wielding them, because the mace in the main hand doesn't actually do much damage itself. So you can use this to supplement your damage if you wanted to use maces for damage dealing. And then 5 is Tremor. Lay on the ground, send out a tremor, stuns everybody. So if you were dual wielding maces, you would have 3 stuns. Well, it is a knockdown, but not a stun, but it is the same thing. So you have tons of control, but you're sacrificing a lot of your damage, but the 4 helps with that, weakening your opponent so you deal more damage. Now, as far as utility abilities go, you have your 6, which is the heal you just saw. It heals you and gives you adrenaline. Now, I would like to point out that at no point has my adrenaline ability changed based on what I'm using in my offhand. The adrenaline ability is always based off of what is in your main hand. Next, I'm going to show you the Greatsword. The Greatsword combines amazing damage with various abilities to help you stick to your target. Your auto attack alone with the Greatsword is afflicting your opponents with vulnerability, increasing your damage. So just auto attacking, you're already doing tons of damage and tearing your opponent down. You hit your opponent and inflict them with vulnerability, and then you can hit them with your other abilities to make them do more damage. Not like you need them, because I just tore that thing apart without even hitting it with an ability, but still. Your second ability is 1,000 slashes. You just vent all your frustration on whoever it is in front of you. This would be great to combine with your auto attack, because that one ability alone tore that guy a new one. And then you add no vulnerability on top of that, and that just does incredible amounts of damage. But of course you have to be close to people to do that. Your third ability is exactly what that is. You send out this targeting reticule, and you pass through any enemies that are in your way, and you go to your preferred location. This is great for catching people, this is great for just simple movement, and it looks cool. Your fourth ability is Blade Trail, where you throw your two-handed sword at somebody. You just toss the sword, it cripples them, and it comes back to you. This can hit multiple people, anyone in your way, and it will hit all of them. It will just go through everybody and then come back to you. I do not believe it actually hits people on the return, but it will hit everyone it can on its way out. So you can toss it into a whole group of people to hit them and cripple them all. This is yet another ability which is just great at helping you stick to people. You cripple them, and then you can whirlwind attack over to them because they're not moving very fast away from you. Or you could just alternately walk up to them because now you run faster than them. Now your fifth ability is Rush, where you charge at your opponent and get in their face. This is different from the Heroic Elite because you do literally just run at them. I've yet to practice with this on my own, but I do believe if you were to be slowed or immobilized while using this ability, it will affect how quickly you actually get to the opponent. Now your adrenaline ability with the Greatsword is Overarching Slice, where you swing your sword over your head, smash the opponent, and give yourself might, increasing the damage you deal. Making it so your 3, 4, and 5 abilities are your abilities to make you stick to your opponent easier, and your 1, 2, and F1 are all your true damage abilities. So you have a lot of sticking power, and you can do massive amounts of damage as long as you're, up on your opponent, and you can actually use the abilities.